What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to get started, and I'm not necessarily going to be giving you a full guide on how to list step by step or how to take photos step by step, though I do have a video or two in my channel that may help you out with that. I'm going to be talking about the key ideas of how you start on eBay. Start so that you can become a reseller in some capacity, whether that's just a side hobby or if you have aspirations of going full time. So I'm going to be giving you some higher elevation tips for general things that you can do on eBay to help get that first sale. Whether you're someone who has not listed anything on eBay ever, to that person who's listed a few things and you're waiting on that first sale, to a person who's maybe sold a couple items here and there. These tips hopefully will be helpful for you to know, what do I do? How do I get going? There's no better time than right now to do that. So thank you for following along with me. So I've got some points right here that I'm going to be reading off to you. Before I get into all of that, let me just say, my name is Jason if you're new to my channel, and thank you for joining me on this video. I'm a full-time reseller on eBay, and that basically means that I just go to thrift stores and garage sales and I buy things for a few bucks and I flip them for $20, $30, $40, $50 and up. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm here to help inspire you to make the plunge as well. 4 years ago, I started reselling on eBay. It was a little hobby I had, a side hustle after hours of work and on the weekends, and I was diligent in building that consistently until a year and a half after that, I was able to go full time. And I've been full time for 2.5 years, and it's been a lot of fun. It's not that it hasn't had its challenges or frustrating parts with it, but it's given me freedom. And a lot of you out there don't necessarily want to go full time, but you may be looking for just a few extra $100 a month, something to help pay a car bill or something to just help change your family or yourself for the better. And so I'm going to be giving you some general ideas on how to get going on eBay. So thanks for joining me. Let me just start by saying this. YouTube is great, and obviously I'm creating content, and there are a lot of other great resellers out there who are giving away secrets and tips to building a successful eBay or just reseller business in general. You can find so much content online that will help guide you in the way that you should go, from mistakes that you can learn from to tips that will help you. But if you have spent 100 hours watching videos and have not started yet, the time is now. The time is now to start. At some point, you've got to do it. If you don't start, all the hours that you've spent watching YouTube will only be wasted. It's in the starting that you learn how to do it. It's in the starting that you make mistakes. But in all of this, those mistakes you learn from, the things that you're doing actively at the same time while you're learning, is what's guiding you and teaching you into how to start a reselling business. I started with not a lot of knowledge. I'd sold a few items on eBay, but not as a reseller. It was just things around the house. And when I started to learn from my mistakes and from others just how to do things better and more efficiently and shortcuts that I can make. So let me just summarize all of that to say, if you've been watching several hours of videos to learn and it's an excuse to not get started, you need to make the plunge and start. There's no better time than right now. All right, moving on. So let me give you some tips now that will help you get going. First, if you have not sold anything on eBay and you've been watching videos and you're trying to get prepared and you're trying to gain some knowledge as to how to start, obviously it's great to be prepared, but as mentioned earlier, there's a time to start. So start with this. Go around your house, whether you're single, living by yourself, living with roommates, or you have a family. Maybe you have some kids. The chances are that no matter what stage of life you're in, you have something around the house that you no longer use. As Americans, we accumulate. We get stuff. Sometimes we can be wasteful, and sometimes we just put stuff in closets and never use it. So go grab all of those things that you are not using anymore or you're not wearing anymore. Maybe you have some clothes that are gathering dust. Maybe you have some old cell phones or gadgets or electronics that you've just thrown in a drawer and you haven't looked at in years. Go get it out. Some of these items will have value to resell on eBay. And this is the best way to start because you don't have to pay to get those items. So hit pause on this video, go gather up some items around your house that you no longer use, and come back and then watch the rest of this. So my first tip is start. And as soon as you finish this video, create a listing and get going. You have a phone, More than likely, you have a cell phone that takes pictures and can upload to eBay. So you're already equipped to start. My second tip is this. If you don't have an eBay account, you're gonna need an eBay account. So sign up, and obviously when you sign up, you're gonna have zero feedback because you have not made a purchase and you have not sold anything on eBay. It may be a hindrance for a buyer if they see that you have zero feedback to wanna buy from you. So here's what I suggest. If you are fresh, you're starting with no eBay account whatsoever, or you have had an eBay account, but you've never sold anything and you don't have any feedback, go make a few quick purchases. Buy something for a few bucks, a sticker or a pen, anything, something that's just not of value, or buy things that you need. And what you'll see is you'll get an instant feedback. Once you make that payment, the seller that you bought that item from will probably go ahead and give you a positive feedback right away. And once you accumulate a few of these little positive feedbacks, it will no longer look like you just started your eBay account. It's a lot different having a 3 by your name, meaning 3 feedback scores, than having 0, where people could potentially think that you might be a scammer. So if you're new, go make some small purchases. This is tip number 2 to get your feedback rating bumped up. Tip number 3 is this. Make sure to check comps for the items that you have. So do this. Take some of those items that you have right now, go on eBay, and do a search for one particular item. Maybe it's a cell phone that you have that you no longer use. Do a search for that exact cell phone. If it's an Apple iPhone 6, type that into eBay. Do a search really quick, and then this is important. Make sure you select used, because more than likely it's a used item. Unless it is new, then you can select new. And then go down to the bottom on the left. If you keep scrolling down in that left toolbar, you will see a box that says sold listings. Click that box. Now what you see next will show you all the comps that similar items to what you have sold for. So in the case of that Apple iPhone 6, you will start to see some iPhone 6s that sold in the last 3 months and how much they went for. Kind of take in all that information, get some averages. So figure out what's the low end of that item and what's the high end. That will give you a range for what your phone is more than likely worth. And when I say phone, I just mean item in general, but in this case, the iPhone. So this is how you check comps, and this is what I do when I'm trying to get the value of an item that I'm trying to decide, is it worth selling or not? This is exactly what I do, and it's been helpful for me to learn new brands as well as price my items accordingly. So that's tip number 3, check comps. Make sure that you're pricing it right. You don't want to sell an item for $10 when you could have gotten $50 for it. Now, if you do make a mistake in this regard, you list an item and you do get less than what you could have gotten for it, you probably wouldn't know it. Maybe you would find out later. And it's okay if you make a mistake. The goal is to get that first quick sale. You want that first quick sale because something happens when you make a sale, you make some money, and something within you goes, wow, that was fun. That was easy. It wasn't as hard as I thought, and I made some money. And then it kind of hooks you into looking for more items that you can flip. Congratulations, if this has happened to you, you've become a reseller. Now, tip number 4 is this. Although I did just say check comps, it's important for you to have a range. I'm going to suggest with tip number 4 that you price on the low end. 1, if you're a new seller, which if you're watching this, I'm guessing you are, you probably don't have many feedback at all, and you have a less likely chance of selling something with little feedback than if you had 2,000 feedback. So take that item and price it on the lower range of the comps that you just looked at. And let's just take the example of the phone. If your phone sells on the low end of $50 and on the high end of $100, price it around that $50 range so that you get interest in that item quicker than some of the other items, and that you have a better chance of selling that faster. So tip number 4, price it on the lower end of comps to get a quick sale. Tip number 5, make sure that you fulfill that order as best as you can, knowing what you know. So if you say you're going to take 2 days to ship it, make sure that you get it shipped out within those 2 days. Don't be late. You don't want negative feedback. It's very crucial starting off that you don't get negative feedback. And if a buyer reaches out asking questions about an item you're selling, make sure that you answer those questions timely and honestly. You want to give a true value of what the item is and the condition that it is, and you don't want to be misleading at all. Again, here, buyer experience is huge, and you want positive feedback when they get your item. You don't want negative feedback. That could crush you. If you sell an item, you ship it out in a timely fashion, the buyer gets it and they love it, you have a great chance of getting positive feedback, and what you want is more positive feedback. You want your score to go up so that you get out of that newbie status and into more of a experienced reseller. Tip number 6, let's assume that you've made a sale. You've made one sale or you've sold a few items that you gathered around the house. Take the money that you received back, whatever amount that you made from the sale of that purchase that you got back as a result of that sale, take and reinvest in new items. Don't take that money and go buy pizza or go hang out with your friends or buy something off Amazon. If you made $30 from the sale of an item, take that $30 and then now go to a thrift store or a yard sale and look for items to flip. So imagine with me for a second. Let's say you sold one item. You made $30. Now you have $30 to go to a thrift store and buy 5 or 6 items. So you went from one item to 5 or 6 that quickly. So you take those 5 or 6 items, you bring them back to your house, you list them, you get them up, and then you make another sale. Then you take the money from that sale and you go and you buy 3 to 5 more items at a thrift store. And instead of having 5 or 6, now you're up to almost 10. This is how you quickly grow your business. The more you leave your money alone, meaning you don't take it out for personal use, the better chance you have of growing into a successful, flourishing side hustle reselling business. As mentioned before, when I started off, I sold a few things around my house, and then once those sold, I took $200, I went and bought some more items at a thrift store, and then once those items slowly started to sell in my store, I just kept buying more items. And that's how you quickly grow. You reinvest all of your profits back into the business as much as you can. Now, I do get that some of you out there may need cash right now, and if you have to take out money, that's your own prerogative. You can do what you wish. But if you desire to grow your business quickly and exponentially, you will reinvest 100% of the profits back into reselling on eBay. Okay, so I just finished up with tip number 5, which was reinvest. Now let me share with you tip number 6, which goes with tip number 5. You've now listed and sold items around your house, and you have some extra money to go reinvest back into the business. What are you going to spend it on? Are you going to buy clothing, hard goods, sporting goods, electronics, appliances, antiques? What's it going to be? Allow me to suggest that you start with what is unique to you. If people were to describe you, what your hobbies are, what your expertise is in, what you're passionate about, what would you say that is? For myself, when I started, I had more expertise in the outdoor world. We were living in Colorado. I had a good supply of outdoor gear, and I had a good amount of knowledge to get started on outdoor gear. So that's where I focused on, men's clothing, specifically higher end outdoor gear. So I went to thrift stores and I looked specifically for those items. I left everything else alone. I didn't look at it. I didn't look for it. I only looked at those things that I was passionate and excited about. Now, why am I saying this? Here's why. Because what you're passionate about, what your hobbies are, is where your experience and expertise comes in handy. You see, I don't know anything about China. I don't own China. I've never sold China. I couldn't tell you the first thing about what to look for or what brands are out there or whether something is 2 years old or 50 years old. So therefore, it's going to require me to spend a lot of time searching and studying and researching items to see if they're valuable or not. But with outdoor gear, I knew more about that than I did China. When I would go into a thrift store, I could see an item and say, wow, those pants were $80 brand new. I bet I can get half of that since they're used in great condition. That's where you start, with what you know. So if you're passionate about sewing, start with sewing. If you're passionate about sports, start with sports. Figure out what that is and move in that direction. Start to look for items that you're passionate about, that excite you, things that make it fun and not just things that keep it as a transactional business. And my last tip is this. Once you start to buy and sell things on a regular basis, really what it comes down to are 2 things. Time, being consistent, putting the time into fulfilling orders, which means shipping, listing, and sourcing. Those three things: sourcing, listing, shipping. And there are obviously some other things within those that kind of fall under those categories, but those are the three areas that you spend time on. So it comes down to the time that you're spending. We as a reselling community call this hustle. Are you willing to put in the time that's required to find the goods so that you can make money later? And if you're willing to work hard, you can make some really good cash at this. And this would be my second tip. So I guess we're on 7B. That was 7A, this is 7B. And 7B is stay hungry. The reselling, the more you stay hungry, the more you stay open-minded, meaning you're willing to look for other brands. You're willing to search comps when you've got a good base of brands. You're willing to step into new categories once you have some experience. You're willing to look for new avenues for making money. Or you're willing to just branch out and try new things. In general, staying hungry is key. If you stay hungry and have a willingness to learn in life in general, no matter how old you get or how experienced you become, you will continue to succeed. So those are my tips today. I hope that it really helps you and blesses you. And honestly, I hope that from this day, this video helps push you in the direction of starting. That it gives you that wake-up call that the time is now. Go capture it. Today is your day. You can do this. We're with you. If you have any questions whatsoever about how to get started on your reselling journey, please reach out in the comments of this video and I'll do my best to answer as honestly and quickly as possible. For more videos like this and other reselling videos, tips for your business, and what sold videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you get the latest videos once they're available. And lastly, if you found this video helpful, would you give it a thumbs up? If I helped you in any way, consider just clicking that button. It helps me and it lets me know that I helped you. Well, that's it for today. Get started and let me know how you're doing. Thanks a lot. Bye.